Cool. We're rolling.
Great.
Hillary, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Can you tell me about what you do, all the different stuff you guys have going on, the projects, and we can start wherever you want.
Yes, so I'm an entrepreneur and in the hospitality space. So our family, we own the Sacajawea Hotel, which is also home to Pompey's Grill, which is a fine dining restaurant, a pub, and a wedding venue. And then the RSVP Motel, which is a motor inn hotel here in Bozeman, which is also home to the Farmer's Daughters Cafe, which is an ode to my childhood of growing up on a farm. And then recently we purchased the Cottages up in Bigfork.
Okay.
Bigfork is one of our happy places as a family, and we're just so excited to share that space and bring memories to guests traveling.
Can we start with the farm that you grew up on?
Yes, let's start there. So I'm a sixth generation Montanan. I
Okay.
grew up on a farm just 30 minutes west of Bozeman, so out in Three Forks. So I grew up on a family farm. I learned from a very early age about hard work and dedication and what that took. My grandparents, they started the farm. My dad joined them, and we really saw the place take off. My parents started Wheat Montana back in the 80s. That was with my grandfather. So that company really grew and grew and grew. And it was amazing to see what they could do when they started dreaming together. And they were a really good partnership. So I grew up in the entrepreneur space, and every meal was talking about business and business deals and how to run a business and blood, sweat, and tears and all that good stuff that's really helped shape me in my life as an entrepreneur.
That's so fun.
Yes.
The farm, beef cattle, is that what you guys primarily had?
Wheat.
Okay.
Yes. So their operation, we had 10,000 acres of wheat. They would grow it 5 minutes from the mill. So they then harvest it, take it to the mill, clean it. They'd make it into flour or then into bread. So they were selling their flour and wheat all over the world, and then the bread all over America, as well as a deli that was right there on the corner.
This makes sense for Wheat, Montana.
Yes.
Did you guys raise any livestock or have horses?
We had horses growing up, but we had cows and pigs and all of those like fun things that I think my dad was more like a hobby.
Is the Sacajawea Hotel on property that was part of the farm?
It is not, but it's in the town that I grew up in. So it's
Okay.
a town of 2,500 people, and they were actually going to shut the Sacagawea down. This was 18 years ago now, and turn it into a rest home training facility. And the thing about the Sacagawea is in 1910, it's a staple of our community. It used to take travelers from the east to Yellowstone National Park. And so this hotel was very iconic. It was a stopping point. It's very beautiful. And we just knew that we needed to become stewards of that property, especially for our community.
Okay, and is any of that farm still in farm use?
It is. So Wheat Montana has now been sold twice. By our family, we bought it back and then we sold it again. And most of the farm has been sold, but there is a very beautiful piece that our family still has, and it's very special in our hearts.
Do you guys still own Wheat, Montana now or no?
No, we do not.
Okay, but you own the Sacagawea Hotel and you own the RSVP.
Yes, and the cottages.
Okay, I don't know much about the RSVP. I know more about the RSVP. I don't know much about Sacagawea Hotel. What can you tell me about that? Hi, folks. Quick note from me. If you don't already know, the goal of Mountain Mule Media is to build real connection between Montana's businesses and the people they serve. If this episode or any other has given you something worth thinking about, smiling at, or passing along, I've got a small ask. Share it with a friend, text it to someone, post it in your story. That one simple action helps these businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this show keep going. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. Now back to the show.
It's a beautiful 1910 historic property. It's really catered more to the luxury traveler who are ideally coming from Yellowstone to Glacier, or we get a lot of great staycations from locals. It's a really beautiful, iconic place. When you step into the lobby, it's like stepping back in time. And that's the really special part about it. The fine dining restaurant is excellent, locally grown steaks, and the pub downstairs is really fun and lively. And then the wedding venue, which is great. So we do about 20 weddings a year, and it's just a fun place for people to come together, and they can rent out the entire hotel. So it's like a big sleepover for their wedding party.
And the hotel's open year round?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What's your busiest season for that hotel?
Definitely summer. It's June through October 1. That is go time in that world.
Okay. And I'm familiar with the RSVP. My fiance stayed there a couple times. She's a huge fan.
Thank you.
I've been to the Farmer's Daughter a few
Yes.
times. What can you tell me about the whole space? Because I know it's a very creative place, and I hear a lot of great things about the experience. I've experienced the farmer's daughter, not the hotel, but it appears there's a lot of thought and detail into
Yes.
everything there.
So after we were somewhat thrown into hospitality with the Sacajawea, we knew we wanted to do another project. And this was now 8 years ago. This is before Bozeman was starting to boom, but it was nowhere near where it is now. We're like, we need to have a piece of that before Bozeman really explodes. So we found this little motor inn. It needed a lot of love. It was built in the 50s and a very iconic spot on 7th Avenue. And it was really the beginning of this urban renewal happening here on 7th Avenue because downtown it's packed, it's busy, but it is like, what's next for Bozeman? So it's that corridor that everyone's coming down. So we were kind of the pioneers of 7th Avenue, which was exciting. But this hotel, we thought we were going to put a little bit of lipstick on it, some paint, call it good. But once we got into the bones of it, there was asbestos, and we pulled up the flooring, and there was no foundation. It was just the ground. So that project took 2 years instead of one, and we ended up really just gutting the whole thing and kind of starting from fresh. But we had an incredible local architect team and an interior team that really helped us bring that to life. And then in terms of the Farmer's Daughter's Cafe, we call it feel good fast food. So we use no seed oils. Everything is sourced as locally as possible, and the food and everything's made from scratch. Again, 8 years ago, there was nothing like that in Bozeman. And it was a very selfish project because I love to eat really good, feeling good type foods. And so I was like, there's nothing like that. And if I don't do it, someone else is going to do it. So that was kind of our stepping point into the cafe world.
I did not know that you guys don't use any seed oils. That's
Yes.
very cool. I feel like
Yes.
that's a detail that
Yes.
people really only know if they're very health conscious.
Right. And it's really important for us to be like, how do you feel after you eat? And it's another whole like conversation. I have a personal brand called Lady H, and a lot of the lifestyle is all about making great recipes for your family that feels good. And how do you create beautiful experiences and things like that from really health, fresh food?
So where did this thought process come from, or the desire to do all this?
I think it was just really ingrained in me. I think I fought it for most of my life. Like, I'm getting away from the family business. You know how you are when you're in your teens and you're like, I'm getting out of here. So in high school, I was like, I'm getting out of here. And then I was offered a full ride golf scholarship to Montana State University, and the coach was amazing and the team was amazing. So I went to undergrad here. And then after that, I was doing an MBA at University of Denver. And I was like, I'm going to live in Denver. I'm going to live this life. And right when I was getting done with school, my father called me unexpectedly and said, we need your help back home. My grandfather had just passed away, so we were short a person on the farm. They had just sold Wheat Montana and bought it back, so they were rebuilding the company, and they had just bought Sacajawea Hotel. So they're like, we really need your help. So I came back, moved back in with my parents, not what I expected in my post-college years, and just I was seeding wheat during the day and bartending at night, and just kind of threw myself into the family, and however I can help. I said I'd give them a year, and it's been 15 years since then.
Right.
You know how that goes. But it's amazing when you work in these family businesses that we can all start dreaming together and start working together to really create some beautiful projects. And it's not always easy, but it's very rewarding.
So it was around 2017 when you guys took over the RSVP or bought it?
Yes. The same year I had a baby. It was great timing.
Congrats. What do you hospitality before the Sacagawea, you didn't have a background in that? Did anyone in your family?
No background in hospitality, but we love to travel. And I always like to bring my experiences back to our properties. You know, that's one thing that sets us apart is a lot of the amenities that you'll see in our hotel rooms. For example, the first time I went to Paris, they greeted us with complimentary champagne. So now when you go to our properties, you'll get a complimentary glass of champagne as you arrive, which is great. And inside of our rooms, some of our guests call it like a scavenger hunt because we work with these amazing local vendors to create little touches like locally roasted coffee in the room from Studio Coffee here in Bozeman, which is a great touch. We have another woman who's a female miner, and she finds these amazing crystal rocks here in Montana. And so we give us a little gift from us to our guests. We also have another amazing entrepreneur who created sage smudge spray. So in the room, there's sage smudge spray, and it's just all these little touches that people don't expect that really adds a lot of value to our properties and to their experiences, which is the fun part.
That's what my fiance, she specifically mentioned something to the extent of press a button here for champagne.
Yes. Yes.
And a silk bathrobe.
Yes. Kimonos in the room, which is fun.
Yeah.
Little things like that.
All those details. That's so
Yes.
cool. Being on the farm, do you think a lot of stuff you learned on the farm translated into the way you because they're very opposite in a lot of ways. I get
Yeah.
the food and the no seed oils, but how do you think what you learned on the farm translated into
I think
business?
one thing that my father and my grandfather taught me, the little things really add up to bigger things. So if you're very consistent with the little things, they're going to make bigger impacts on your business and on your life. And I do that not only in my personal life, but also with my businesses. It's like every day just checking away all these little boxes, and they really lead up to great and big results.
I grew up on a farm as well,
Very good. Where at?
upstate New York,
Very
other
good.
side of the country. Our veterinarian was a very good family friend, and he always said the devil's in the details.
Yes,
It's
I
all those
believe
little
that.
things that just make make such a big impact on the end product.
Absolutely. And I think your customer, your consumer, they see that. And that's what I hope even at the Farmer's Daughters Cafe, whether it's the seed oils or the little touches like our staff. I have the most incredible team there who are so happy and just it's that feeling that people get when they walk through the door. And I always believe in hospitality, you should have a signature playlist, scent, and color scheme. So when people walk through, they have that feeling, whether it's nostalgic or it's just a feel good feeling. And I'm like, how do I create that every single day for every single person that walks through that door?
That's so cool. I've been in restaurants where you can tell that every detail was focused on, and it's very cool.
Yes, thought out.
How many rooms does RSVP have?
38 and
Okay.
Sacajawea is 38. And then our new project is 13 standalone cottages.
Okay, and that's up near
In
Kalispell?
Yes, it's in the Flathead. It's beautiful. It's on the Swan River. It's going to be really fun. We just took it over. Renovation started last week, and it's going to be a really coming home kind of project in terms of like slow mornings and crisp linens and handwritten notes and things like that that I think people are going to really appreciate.
When will that open up?
May 1, fingers crossed.
Okay. So back to the RSVP, just because it's local here in Bozeman, if anyone stays there, is there anything they need to know other than all the cool details that you just shared?
We have a really fun pool, and that's kind of been our pride of the property. So that's open just in the summer, but when you walk through there, it feels like you're walking into the 1950s type of pool and the setup with the lounge chairs and the umbrellas. So that's been a really fun feature. I think having the cafe on property is a huge value add for guests that they don't have to go far for a healthy meal while they're driving or while they're traveling. So I think that's really fun. And honestly, our location is great because it's easy to get in and out of driving, but you can also walk downtown. So we're so lucky that we have incredible places to send our guests. Bozeman's full of amazing places to eat
Yeah.
and drink and all that good stuff.
Where does the RSVP name come from?
Good question. We went through rounds and rounds of names, but we wanted this idea of like you're RSVPing to a stay, you're RSVPing to vacation, you're saying yes to like these fun adventures.
Okay, that makes sense. I say with business, what I've learned being in business is a business, at least for myself personally, is an expression. It's just a way to express who I am. Do you feel this in what you do?
Everything that I do. And that was the funny part about starting my personal brand called Lady H. This was back in 2017. I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, who I'm sure you're all very familiar with, a serial entrepreneur. But he was saying, if you have a business, and this is in 2017, and you don't have a personal online brand, you are missing a huge opportunity. So I started building this brand. I wasn't sure if it was just going to be a creative outlet for me or where it would transform, but everything I do on that page correlates to everything else. Entertaining, recipes, travel, this lifestyle, it all works together. And it's amazing how the aesthetic of all these different businesses and my personal brand, they all are one thing, all coming together. So it's been a really fun place for me to share more behind the scenes of the business and who the person is behind the business. And it's been great for not just advertising, but just keeping our businesses top of mind.
For whatever reason, I've known Gary Vee for a long time, but I'm on a specific Gary Vee kick right now.
I love it. See, the world comes together in
Yeah.
amazing ways.
Tell me about the Lady H.
Yes. So Lady H was, like I said, originally a creative outlet, and I was sharing travel and fashion and all the motherhood, all the things that I really love. But it's turned into so much more of like connecting all of these businesses into one place. So I'm always sharing entertaining ideas. Halloween's coming up. I have kids. Like, let's throw an epic Halloween party, and recipes that are, again, home cooked meals that I grew up with, but are made with like amazing ingredients and locally grown products. So it's really fun. And all the travel stuff, again, I take ideas and I always share like, I found this idea, I'm going to bring it back to our hotel. So that's always kind of fun to show kind of the process and behind it.
Do you have any trouble with boundaries of your personal life and having a personal?
All the time.
Yeah.
Every single day. I'm always wondering, I'm like, do I ever turn it off? And that's something that I'm trying to work on a little bit more. But when you love what you do and your business is so integrated into your life, it flows. And there are days that are harder, but at the same time, I love what I do and yeah, I always say like I'm okay working 100 hours for myself, right? And so that's the really fun part is you work a lot, but the rewards are there, and I have a ton of flexibility having two young children, and so that part's great. And they also get to see mom working hard and some of those things paying off.
How old are your kids?
8 and 5,
Cool.
and they are the light of my life. They're so great.
I growing up on a farm myself, I think it was always so much work to do, but there was still so much freedom.
Exactly. Isn't that amazing how that
Yeah.
works?
Just not having a boss, knowing there's so
Right.
much to do and it's up to me to get it done. I think that it spoiled me in a way in the sense of I could not imagine just going to work for somebody else every day and being on their schedule. And I'm going to do the work anyway, so I'd much rather do it on my own
I
time.
agree. And I'm like, I work 7 days a week, but there are hours that I want to work and there's things that I want to do. And I'm lucky now we're to the point that we have these amazing teams of people and so many people that are so much smarter than I am. So they're helping with things that I'm not good at. And so I'm learning to outsource some of that. But as you know, as a small business at the beginning, you do all of it. You're HR, you're marketing, you do, you're the chef, you're all the things. So we're finally getting to a place where we can kind of start giving those projects away to people that are better than I am.
Had that been a challenge for you to delegate stuff and hand stuff off to
At
people?
first, but I've learned when I find really great people, it's easy. But
Yeah,
when I had the wrong people on the team, it was very challenging. But we're getting to the point now that I'm like, wow, we have the best team. And how do we keep this group and how do we keep growing? And how do we give everyone like a piece of the pie, so to speak? So that's one thing that's really important to us is like, how do we bring our managers in? How do we give them some stake in this?
very cool. Well, the other thing I wanted to ask you about the RSVP, there's that giant mural on the north side of the
Yes.
building. Because what was that, 4 or 5 years ago that
Yes,
was painted?
and it needed some love. It was just a really, tan wall that needed a little bit of something, and, we're all about beautifying the city, right, in any way that we can help, and we thought that would be a really fun kinda give back to the community. It says Bozeman on it, and it's great to see all the people taking photos in front of
Oh,
it.
every
It's
time I
yeah.
drive by, there's someone out there.
Yeah, it's become kind of iconic, which has been fun. I mean, it was a huge investment for us, but at the same time, the payoffs have been huge.
Yeah. Yeah, the 7th is really, like, come a long way, and there's a lot of I'd imagine having the Elm there too is imagine you guys get busy when there's shows playing there.
Yes, having the concert venue next door has been great for us because they fill our hotel up on Mondays and Tuesdays on very off days, which is great. And that partnership with Logjam at Missoula has been wonderful. We lease it out to them, and they've been incredible partners. We were going to do the music business ourselves, and that was going to be one part of our pillars of our business. And I'm so glad that we're not doing that because I know nothing about that industry.
And the RSVP, is that similar to the Sacajawea as far as seasonality? Is it busiest in summer?
Summer is definitely when it's happening, but I would tell travelers I love Montana in the fall, and it slows down a little bit. Rates are better. I would tell people come here September, October. It is gorgeous.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
Yeah,
off season or like the shoulder season is the time to be here.
yeah, there's a different kind of piece to it.
Isn't there? Oh, it's gorgeous. This fall, I can't believe it. I'm like, I can't believe I live here. And I've lived here my entire life. So still those pinch me moments.
Yeah, September was beautiful.
Amazing.
So nice. I didn't ask you about the name for Sacajawea Hotel.
Yes, so that's been there since 1910.
Okay.
So of course a little bit of background and history. Lewis and Clark were coming through. Sacagawea's tribe was right around that area. So that's where they met her. So the headwaters of the Missouri is right there in Three Forks. So there's a ton of history, and we get a lot of history buffs that are coming through following Lewis and Clark's trail.
Okay. So we covered Wheat, Montana, Sacagawea, RSVP, the cottages. You have a lot going on.
A few things.
What do you think inspires you to do all this stuff?
That's a great question. I think I don't like being bored. I like to like be creative. And that's like the best part is like starting these businesses, building these brands. How do we get creative and how do we create them? And how do we create story? And I think story is so important. Everyone has a story. Everything has a story. And I always say the best story wins. And so how do we tell our story? And I always recommend to others is like really hone into that, your heritage or why you did it. And it goes a long way for guests. They see that authenticity streaming through your branding or your promotions.
Is there anyone in your life that you think of that really inspired you or you look up to and inspired you to do all this and
Y-
tell this story?
yes, honestly, my dad, they took a dry land wheat farm and turned it into a huge, huge company. They had this dream and they kept building this dream and kept building and finding the right people. And my grandparents were involved. And it was just incredible to see them take a farm and turn it into what they did. And so I think that keeps me going and keeps me very grounded.
That's so cool. If people want to find out more about you, tell me the name of your brand.
It's called Lady H, but you can find me at Hillary Folkvord on Instagram.
Okay, that's the best
Yep.
place to
And
start.
then all of my businesses are all tagged there.
Okay, cool. Well, I love your energy
Thank
and your
you.
excitement for everything you're doing. And how about is the cafe 7 days a week?
7 days a week,
Okay, what are the hours?
7:30 to 2
Every day.
every day.
Perfect. So that's a great spot to grab a coffee, grab lunch, grab breakfast.
Yes, food is wonderful. I highly recommend the Handsome Scramble for breakfast or the Bison Bowl for lunch.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put all the links to everything here. Is there anything else you want anyone to know about you and what you do?
I just think that being in Montana, doing business in Montana is really special, and I hope that people can come here and experience that as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna I know I was like wrapping it up there, but you're from Montana. How has that been for you? Because that's such a back and forth controversial thing with people moving here and growth
Yep.
in the city. How do you look at all that?
I'm a very positive person, and I love the growth. I know there's some negatives, but it's great to see new restaurants and new businesses and opportunities for people to start here. And I think Montana's really special in terms of business. It's special in terms of collaborations, and it's a great place to start a business.
Yeah, so just a good mindset about it. And
Yes.
heard several people say this, and I couldn't agree more that it's really tough when you're in a town. And I grew up in a very small town that is like probably declining, honestly, and being in a place where people are leaving and there's not much opportunity. It's a very hard place to be. And when you're in a place where there's growth and potential and opportunity and beauty,
And beauty.
it's awesome.
It is. And one thing I learned growing up is nothing stays the same,
Yeah.
and we have to evolve and change.
Yeah. And I think that I can only speak for myself, not you, but I learned that firsthand being on the farm
Ye
because you see seasons of the year, seasons of life and death, and you have an acceptance that things are always changing.
Right, and you can't always control it. We rely on Mother Nature for farming, and you can't control if there's gonna be rain that year or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to always wonder that why you work so hard and you grow this beautiful crop of hay and then you cut it and it gets
Oh,
rained on. And it's like
it's yeah,
there's
heartbreaking.
and you have to look at it as this is how life goes for better or worse
Yeah,
sometimes. And sometimes you don't see the full picture of what's going on.
so many good life lessons.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's a great spot to end. Like I
Very
said
good.
again, I appreciate you, your energy, and what you're doing, and I hope to send some more people that support your
Great.
businesses.
Thank you, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Hillary. Thanks for listening, folks. You can find the full blog post for every episode, along with key takeaways and links at mountain-mule.com. If you haven't yet, consider following the show. That one small action helps these Montana businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this podcast keep going too. If you know a business that would be a good fit for the show, we'd love to hear from you. Just reach out through the website or social. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. See you on the next show.